Welcome everyone, and the next subject we want to speak about today is the power of repentance and actually what's happening to us when we go through a difficult time. You know, one of the months that is very specifically given to us, astrological months, to help us become a different human being is the month of Virgo. You know, many times we can look at a Virgo and we know the Virgos are known for their attention to detail, their attention to notice what's wrong, what needs to be changed. And the reason why the Kabbalists say that there's a certain light that emanates in the month of Virgo. This light comes from a certain dimension, and it says that it shines down in this month on all peoples of the world. People who are on a spiritual path, meaning a desire for growth, will experience the effects of this light more than if a person is not on a spiritual path. Why? Because desire is a vessel. Desire is a vessel that can hold this light that's coming down in the month of Virgo. Now, what does this light do? It shows a person where they need to change. It shows a person the details of their garbage, the details of their negativity, all aspects of ourselves that's not really us, that we need to learn to disconnect ourselves from. But unfortunately, when we go through a tough time, when we see our garbage in our face, when someone tells us what's wrong with us, we get hurt, we get upset, we become insecure, and we start to beat ourselves up. Or we shut down and we reject the criticism and we blame the other person. All of these things are contrary to the path of our soul, which is to be able to identify the darkness that's hiding our soul, that's hiding the light of our soul. In this month, and really every month for that matter, but especially this month, this unique light is coming from the highest of dimensions, it says, to show us who we are and what it is that we need to change. So, what does it mean that in this month there's a higher light that's coming versus the other months maybe there's a lower light that's coming? Kabbalah explains all these unique types of energies that our soul interacts with so we can better understand what's going on in our life, how we're feeling, what we need to do, etc., etc. When there's a higher light coming, it means there's the potential for the greatest challenges. Why? Because it's this force, this high light, that can take a person to his lowest levels. Think about it. The more powerful the light, the higher the light, the lower a person can feel and go in their life. And it doesn't mean that actually we need to lose everything to go low, but we might go through feelings that I feel low. I feel like I'm a nobody. I feel like, what's the point? I feel down. I feel sad. I feel so many different things. That is the power of a highlight. We need to know that when we feel challenged the most, it's because we are experiencing this highlight, this higher level of light, when we're feeling the most challenge, when we're feeling the most down. And Rav Ashlag explains that when a person feels this way, when he feels low and that the challenges are too much for him in his life, he needs to do only one thing. He needs to work even harder. He needs to use the tools of transformation even more, even though he doesn't feel like he's in the mood to do so. And he needs to do it with happiness. And it says that when a person can keep doing this work, even though he's not in the mood, even though he has to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, it takes the bitterness and it sweetens it. You know, on Passover, which is another spiritual day, it's not a religious holiday, but on this day of Passover, there's one thing that the Kabbalists would do. They would actually take a big chunk of horseradish. You know what horseradish tastes like? It's bitter and it stings. Fresh horseradish, and they would put a big fistful of it in their mouth and they would chew it. In that moment, they would cry and they would sting, their sinuses would go haywire, and their face would become red, and it almost feels like you're about to die. All you want to do is spit it out or swallow it, but no, they had to keep chewing it and chewing it and chewing it. Why? The Kabbalists say you must chew it until it becomes sweet. You must chew it until it becomes sweet. And that gives us the energy and power, and is very symbolic of in our spiritual work. When things are difficult, do you spit it out or swallow it, or do you keep chewing it until you transform it? In the month of Virgo, and every month for that matter, but especially in the month of Virgo, this light shows us a challenging time, shows us what's wrong with us. And it doesn't have to be a challenging time. And where's my consciousness? I have to know, where's my consciousness when I see what's wrong with me? Am I excited? Then it will not be a difficult time. Or am I sad? Then it will be a difficult time. My garbage is not really who I am. It's just a part of me that I came to this world to correct. The more difficult the experience I'm having, the higher the light is coming from. The higher the light, the more powerful the light. We must embrace this light. We must have certainty in the process of this light. And we must learn that we may never give up until bitter becomes sweet. When bitter becomes sweet, that's when you can move on. That's when you can embark on a new journey, on new challenges, and feel satisfied to know that you never gave up.